Our next guest certainly keeps busy as a poet, producer, and educator. Kwame Alexander is the #1 New York Times bestselling author of 36 books and winner of countless literary awards. His latest children's book, American Story, addresses the issue of slavery through the voice of a teacher struggling to help her students understand its place in history. We are so happy to have you here with us in studio. How are you, Kwame?
I'm good. It's good to be here.
So talk to us about how you go about tackling such a complex, tough topic that kids can understand.
Yeah, so my kid was in the 4th grade, and she came home one day crying. And she said her teacher had assigned them to promote one of the 13 colonies by creating a billboard. So she was in a group of two other kids, one of them white, one of them black. And the white girl said to the 2 black girls, "One of you all can be my slave." And there was a big hullabaloo in the class, and kids cried. And the teacher took them out into the hallway and had them apologize to each other. And my daughter, I thought, why did she have to apologize? Yeah. So we had a teacher-parent meeting, and before I could really get into what the issues were, the teacher started crying. And I was really judgmental for a few moments, and then I said, you know what? She's scared. She's uninformed. She doesn't know how to teach this topic of slavery. So maybe there's something I can do to help her and help other teachers and parents who find this topic very difficult and challenging, rightly so, to talk about. And so I wrote this book from the vantage point of a teacher who doesn't know how to teach it. And by the end of the book, hopefully she will figure it out.
And I think that that's so tough for a lot of teachers. I remember when I was growing up and slavery would be mentioned, and all the kids in the class would immediately look at me. And it was like, you know, I don't know what to say. And I didn't have the language or the words or the understanding. And I think that for a lot of teachers these days, especially as they're getting so much pushback and scrutiny with regard to critical race theory and now the books bans in particular in Florida, what's your reaction to that?
Well, the idea is that you know, we are not talking about these difficult, challenging topics like, you know, the world wars in our country, or the Civil War, or 9/11, or slavery, because we want to harp on them, because we just want to focus on, make people feel guilty. We're talking about them so that we can understand them and acknowledge them, and so we can help our kids be a lot better than we were. So we can help them imagine a better world so that they don't repeat the same mistakes we made. So, you know, I applaud the teachers and librarians who are pushing back, who are resisting, and I think that's necessary.
One of your passions is going to schools and actually reading your books and interacting with kids. What's their response often?
The kids are not the problem. It's the adults. You know, the kids don't segregate the books. The kids see themselves, they see books as mirrors where they see themselves. They see books as windows where they see each other. It's the parents and the adults. We come with sort of our baggage and our prejudices, and we put that on them. But I think the kids are fine, and I've seen that around the country, around the world when I visited students. They see an American Story, and their first response is, that is so sad that that happened. And I'm sorry that that happened. And what can we do to make the world a better place? I think the kids get it, and that's what's important. I think the books can help them imagine a better world.
Kids, when you're giving this kind of information, I feel like it's reminding them what really inherently they already understand, right? Because people will say the kids don't see color. I've always disagreed with that, right? Kids do see color, they just don't put a value on it. It's adults who quite often do that. But switching gears for a moment, you're now working on the crossover, Disney Plus, writer and executive producer. Tell us about that project.
Well, that was more than a notion. Linsey, there's nothing glamorous about Hollywood. It's real work. I decided I wanted to be the showrunner. I wanted to be in the room with the writers. So I teamed up with Damani Johnson and Kimberly Harrison, and we created this amazing show that I like to say is matter-of-fact black. It's trying to change the narrative on what our story is. There's a danger in a single narrative. And so the idea is that black people live, hope, laugh, dance, eat, sleep, smile, live, die, just like everybody else. And I think this show, you know, is about that idea of recapturing and reminding all of us here in America that, you know, black people are human beings. And it sounds simple and you know, real simplistic and obvious to say that, but we forget that, you know, and I think our narrative has to be widened in that regard.
So you've already done 36 books. Now you've taken this foray into TV. What's next for you?
What's next? Wow. I mean, my mission, Linsey, And you got a kid, you know, and you know how important books are and how important words are in transforming their lives and building confidence and triggering their voice. I think my mission is to change the world one word at a time, whether it be through a TV show, whether it be through a book.
I want to just go back to American Story, where we started, just to end here, because the illustrations in here, we got to talk about that. As soon as I got this book at home and was sharing it with my son, and it's immediately so powerful, so profound. And you were saying that these are actual real sculptures.
Yeah, she's a multimedia artist. Her name is Dare Coulter. She's from Raleigh, North Carolina, and she did something really fantastic with this book. She took my story and she elevated it. She took it to another level. It's one thing to write a book, and hopefully it's a good book. It's another thing to find an illustrator who can create a whole nother story on top of this story. And she's done that with really amazing sculptures, with multimedia art, and it's entertaining, and it's informative, and it's inspirational, and I think ultimately the artwork is engaging and makes you want to turn the page and find out what's happening here in this book.
Kwame Alexander, we thank you so much for the work that you are doing and for coming on the show. To our viewers, you can find American Story and all of Kwame's books wherever books are sold.
Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.